The Pacers and Hornets are battling to stay alive. The Celtics and Wizards are trying to grab the 7th seed. The NBA play-on is on, and this is Heat Check from the Action Network. Hello, everyone. I'm Matt Moore from the Action Network, joined by Raheem Palmer and Chris Raybon, bringing you the best information to bet tonight's NBA play-in games. This obviously is a first in NBA history, the play-in tournament going on like this. Last year's bubble was a little bit different, so this setup is different. We're going to get you the best odds, props, sides, futures, everything that you need to know to bet tonight in the NBA. We're glad that you're with us. Let's start off here, guys, we have a prop that we want to talk about over at our partner BetMGM, the official sponsor of Heat Check. They've got odds to make the playoffs and to miss the playoffs. And you can see the odds as we go through this. Obviously, a reminder, the 9 and 10 seed play tonight. That's Pacers versus Hornets. The loser is out. They are going home. The winner will face the loser of Wizards Celtics later on tonight. And then the winner of that game advances to the 8th seed, and that loser goes home. So these teams in win or go home mode right now. Wizards Celtics a little less, but they still need to get this win. It's going to be a very different environment to try and bet games in. Raheem Palmer, I want to start with you. When we look at these prop odds, what do you think is the best value on the board to make or miss the playoffs?
I'm going with the Charlotte Hornets. I mean, when you look at them tonight, they're like they probably have close to a 50% chance of winning this game. And then, they have probably about a 40% chance of beating either the Celtics or the Wizards. So it's like when I combine those two, I think that gives you the best value on the board. Whereas just, when I look at other teams, I think Indiana, I see them getting eliminated, but you have to lay minus 500. And then obviously, according to the market, they have a 50% chance of winning tonight. So I think that's a bad bet. I mean, when I look at the Celtics, they're favorites tonight. I would lean towards them missing the playoffs, but they're favorites tonight. So it's just based on these spreads. I look at the Hornets at plus 425. That's where the value is. And, out of all of these, that's the only one I would probably play.
Chris Raybon, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I totally agree with Raheem here. I think the Hornets are kind of sneaky. I think they're getting a little undervalued because of how they close out the season, losing 5 games in a row down the stretch. But they were underdogs in 4 of those games. They played a bunch of close games in that span as well. So I think the Hornets could easily beat the Pacers in this game, coming up shortly. And if not, they'll play a Wizards or a Celtics team. I think that'll be a tough game for both of those teams. So yeah, I like the Hornets as well. I think they're the best value on the board.
Okay, well, I disagree with both of you that plus 425 is the best value on the board because I bet Hornets to make it at plus 450. So I got the best of the line. I'm also on that as well. But the one that I actually like the most on this board is another one that I bet, and that's Celtics plus 375 to miss the postseason. That's right. I'm taking a team that's going to be favorites in both of their games to miss. Look, the Jaylen Brown injury was just devastating. He did the best job on Bradley Beal of any player in the regular season matchups, and Beal still scored 41 per game. That's right. Bradley Beal averaged 41 per game. We'll get to that down the line later in the show. But he's too crucial to this team. Without it, this team has been begging to go home all year. They've had COVID issues. They've had injury issues. This team has not fought the same way that Brad Stevens teams usually do. Kemba Walker's played better as of late, but I just don't think they have enough firepower. I don't think they're playing together. There's been something missing from this team all year. And in this high pressure tension environment, I do not trust them to get it together. I like them plus 375 to miss the postseason. And I could wind up being wrong by the end of the night. So that's entirely possible if they win tonight's games. Let's get to the big bet. And that's our best bet of the night. Raheem Palmer, let's start with you. Of both of these games, sides, totals, what's your best bet for the evening?
I think that was a great segue because we're just talking about the Boston Celtics. I don't like this Boston Celtics team at all. As you know, me and Matt Moore, we made a bet preseason. Who would finish better, the Celtics or the Sixers? I told him the Sixers would finish better. So I'm still waiting from that Venmo from him. I don't like the Celtics team. They've been down by double digits in 40 games this year. These are two teams going in opposite directions. I like the Washington Wizards plus 2.5 money line. I mean, the Wizards are 17-5 in their last 22 games. The Celtics are just 5-10, and they're missing Jaylen Brown. It's the second leading scorer, one of their best defenders. That's a huge loss, and I don't trust this team at all. And then, I mean, look at this Wizards team. They get to the rim at will. with Russell Westbrook. They have a big team. Robin Lopez, Daniel Gaffer has been a great addition into this matchup. They're shooting 66% at the rim, which is 8th among NBA teams. They're facing a Celtics team, which is 22nd in opponent field goal percentage at the rim, giving up 65%. In addition, Robert Williams is a little banged up. He's probably going to play tonight because this is a key matchup, but, I don't see them stopping him at the rim. In addition, of course, the Celtics, they're 24th in personal fouls. Guess who's first in free throws? The Washington Wizards. So I expect them to get to the line tonight. This Celtics team, I think they're ready to go home. So I'm gonna fade them tonight.
So I just said that I like the Celtics to miss the playoffs. So I should like them to lose this game. I'm staying away from it. Here's my hesitation, okay? The Celtics primarily run a pick and roll defense called ice. Okay, they push you away from the middle of the floor. They drop the big and they try and push you to the side. Beal absolutely lit up that coverage in the regular season, but only against the Celtics. Overall for the season versus any other coverage, they had, I think, a 0.8 points per possession mark with Beal trying to score versus that. That's terrible. They really struggled in that. Beal did not look right in that Hornets game. It was honestly really impressive that he was able to close the game the way that he did. He struggled that entire game. I do not like the idea of betting on a team where Bradley Beal is so dependent on their success and he's just not 100% healthy. If he has a bad game and this turns into a slugfest, I don't trust the Wizards in a defensive battle. I like the Celtics odds because I'm getting 375 on it. But in this game in particular, I can't go with you. What do you think, Chris?
I like Washington in this game. I think, it's easy to look at Bradley Beal and say he is, he wasn't quite right in last game, but that was last game. Now he's had another, day off and he should be all right. I think for this one, he's definitely going to gut it out and play. So that kind of goes right into my pick because for this game, I think it could devolve into a slugfest. But I like the first quarter over 59.5 in Wizards Celtics. And the reason being, first of all, you're getting, if there is something wrong with Bradley Beal, you're getting, the most likely full complement of minutes from Beal in the first quarter. And for the Celtics, I think that first unit defense is going to be weakened. Williams is a little banged up. No Jaylen Brown. So you have Kemba, you have Fournier, both in the starting lineup. And those have kind of played out this season, especially recently for both teams. Boston is 7-3 toward the over in the first quarter in their last 10, 40-29 on the season toward the over. And then Washington has gone over the first quarter total in 9 of their last 10 games, and they're 39-33 on the season. So I think both of these teams start hot, especially Washington. I think it could devolve a little later on as the game progresses into more of a slugfest, but I like the first quarter over 59.5.
One of the things I think is interesting, my fault, not to cut you off, Matt. I don't like the value on the Celtics not to make the playoffs because they're going to be favorites in this game and the next game. So if they play, the Indiana Pacers, they're probably laying around 5. If they play the Hornets, they're probably laying around 6. So, value-wise, I think the plus 375 is a little short. If I'm going to take that bet, I'd rather, almost roll it over.
Roll it over. Yeah.
Yeah. Like just because it's just, you could realistically lose that bet tonight.
So, I mean, I think that's an interesting question, right? Like if the Celtics lose tonight, how much do they drop? Like, what does that do to the line? Like how do expectations change, or does the model stay the same? Right. Like, I think I wonder about tonight's impact on the line if the Celtics were to lose. I think whoever loses, I wonder about how that's going to affect the next game, the next playing game in terms of where the line stands, because you have a team that just won a big game and a team that just lost a big game in a one-off environment. The models will mostly probably be where you're saying it is. I am curious if the market will wind up shifting it that way. That's an interesting point, though. For me, I will say, Raybon, the only reason I'm concerned is if we look at the first quarters, there's just gonna be so much tension, right? Like this is like a one game play-in at the end of a very long season. I have a feeling like I would like it better, honestly, probably if you were on maybe one of the team total sides. If you're just like, I like the Wizards to go ahead and score big there. That to me is might be a little bit more. I actually have the under in this game. I think that I think the total is high at 232. And so I've got the under for the game. Maybe we can both be right. We can get off to a hot start and then it turns into a rock fight later on. My big pick for the night is the Hornets money line. Look, I have made no secret that I like this Hornets team. I did a deep dive on them for teams that are better suited for the playoffs. Whenever I started looking at metrics for teams that do the things that you want in the playoffs, which is pull-up shooting, defensive versatility, those types of things. Can you switch? Can you zone? And can you hit shots off the dribble? The Hornets actually, surprisingly, rather shockingly, I've got to be honest with you, tick all those boxes off. They're better built for these one-off environments. They're better built for situations where you have to game plan against an opponent. They're better built for when you shorten the rotations. I think they've been playing way better than what the record suggests. But here's the bigger thing. The Hornets switch the most in pick and roll situations of any team in the league. And pick and roll, obviously, is what most NBA teams run most of the time, including the Boston Celtics and the Indiana Pacers. So the Hornets switch the second most of any team in the NBA. The Pacers are the second worst team scoring against switch defense. It absolutely messes with them. I dug down. I was like, okay, is this just the other guys, though? Is it maybe some of the other players? Because Malcolm Brogdon is going to play in this game. That news just came out before we came on the air. That's actually, you can track all the injury news that you need at Fantasy Labs NBA and our Labs Insiders tool on actionnetwork.com. Brogdon's going to play. Holiday's going to play. Sumner's going to play. They're all in. But when I looked at it, McConnell struggles against switch. Brogdon struggles against switch. And actually, Domantas Sabonis against smaller opponents, he struggles against switching defenses too. On top of that, you get the Karis LeVert news today that I don't think moved the line enough. Like, that's a really big question to me, is like, why didn't this line move? That makes me a little nervous. But Karis LeVert not going to play because of health and safety protocols. He's been huge for their offense. I think the Hornets are going to make it out of the play-in. They're going to make the playoffs, and I think they're definitely going to win tonight. I've got them at plus 100. I got them an even better price earlier today. I assume we're all on the same page since you guys both like the Hornets to make it out of the playoffs.
I like the Hornets before the Karis LeVert
Me too.
Injury news anyway. I mean, I thought the 3.5, it was pretty telling. I mean, you have a Hornets team that's really been struggling, and yet they're only catching 3.5 on the road. So I thought that was suspect right away. And then with Karis LeVert out, like, I really like it. So.
All right, let's go to the wheel. Are you guys ready? We're going to do the wheel, which is every week we have our prop wheel. We select a number of props. They've been randomly selected. We have to prep for all of them, and we have to know whether to go over or under on each prop. Raheem Palmer, you're up first. Are you ready?
I'm born ready.
All right. Producer, let's spin the wheel.
Just talking about this
Bridges, 18.5 points, over under. What do you got, Raheem?
I'm going over. I mean, when you look at the last two games, this guy's taking over like pretty much 20 field goal attempts. He's scoring 23 points a game. He came back from, the health and safety protocols, like, with the vengeance, and he knows that he has to score. There's no Gordon Hayward. He has to score on this team. I mean, and he's playing a Pacers team that can't stop anybody. Without Miles Turner, he's their catalyst for their defense. He's their rim protector. Bridges is shooting 72% at the rim. Meanwhile, the Pacers are a dead last in frequency of field goal attempts at the rim. Almost 40% of attempts are coming at the rim. So Bridges should be able to get to the rim. He can shoot the three. He can score. He has to score for this team. Last time these two teams played, Miles Turner was in the lineup. And Bridges scored 23 points on 8 of 12 shooting. I think he's going to take a lot more shots. He's probably going to get fouled. So give me the over. I think this is pretty easy.
And he's guaranteed to catch a body too. That's absolutely going to happen. He's going to catch a body at some point.
Oh, without a doubt.
Tonight. I like that pick. Chris Raybon, are you ready for the wheel?
Let's go.
Evan, let's spin the wheel. Raul Neto, 9.5 points. What do you like, Raybon?
If you follow me in the Action app, you saw I bet this is one of the 3 props I think I bet for this game, and I'm going under 9.5. When you look at Washington when they're healthy with Westbrook, Beal, Hachimura on the floor, Neto's averaging just 9 points per 36 minutes. Now, he projects to play around 30, maybe a little under, maybe a little more, but that's a 5.4 point drop per 36 over his normal averages, with those 3 in the lineup. And then his usage rate with Westbrook, Beal, and Rui on the floor, just 9.2%. That's a 6.9% drop from all other situations. And in 57 minutes versus the Celtics this year, Neto scored just 10 points on 7 field goal attempts. So it's the playoffs. I think that with Washington's, big three on the floor, I think those guys are going to take the majority of the shots. I think Neto, he'll play more of a role. And usually you see those kind of guys take a back seat. Every once in a while, a role player will pop off for a big game, but more often than not, you see those guys take a back seat in the postseason. So I'm betting under 9.5 for Neto.
Yeah, those role players are the guys that surround the superstars, and the superstars play the same position as Raul Neto. I love this pick. This is a really good one. Neto's likely to be on a much shorter leash tonight. He's a good player, veteran player, but like Russ is going to play 42, maybe more. So if he plays 45 minutes, I just don't think they're going to have a lot of minutes where he's on the court. Now he might play some 2-guard and combo guard lineups with Beal's hamstring acts up. And that's, I think, a little bit of a concern. But then you've also got I think, Ish played a lot of minutes that last game on Sunday. So I absolutely am with you. I like the Raul Neto under 9.5 points. It's my turn. I really need a good one. Some of these are tough. Evan, please spin my wheel. Evan Fournier, 18.5 points. Okay, good. I like this one. I'm going over. So here's a big deal. The Wizards basically like to blitz the pick and roll ball handler. Okay, that's what they like to do, is they want to put 2 guys at the level and get the ball out of their hands. They want there to be a whole lot of movement. They've had to move Robin Lopez up to do that a lot more, and he is reluctantly, doesn't love it, but he's doing it a lot more. They like to blitz those pick and rolls to get the ball out of the hands and get the ball moving, and then they want to use their athletes like Westbrook and Rui and those guys rotating to the other side. Well, if you blitz a ball handler like Kemba Walker, a very good passer, or Jason Tatum, a very big and good passer, what happens is that means that you're going to get the reversal to the other side, and the easiest shot to find on the other side is open 3-pointers for guys like Evan Fournier. So I like Evan to pick up some easy buckets in transition. He's played very well in that kind of a spot. The Wizards play at a high pace, so I like the scoring capacity there. You have all these opportunities. I think he's going to go over pretty easily. I like Evan Fournier quite a bit in this spot. I think he's going to have a big game for them tonight, especially if they win. If I'm gonna miss the over or the under on this, if Fournier plays like I want to, so I'm contradicting myself a little bit, but I do like Fournier at least at 18.5. We've got that projected at about this right about there, so I'm not getting a ton of value via our projections, but contextually in the flow of this game, I think Fournier has to play a lot of minutes without inexperience the rest of Boston's team is. I'll take the over on Evan Fournier, 18.5. Do not Google his last name. All right, let's go to the final segment, which is fade the public. It's an old axiom in sports betting. You got to fade the public. If the public's going one way, you got to go the other way. But turns out that our followers on Twitter have been pretty smart, as they've done very well most times here on Heat Check in our Twitter polls. Today, we put out a poll about prop. We asked you, will Bradley Beal go over or under 31.5 points? Notably, again, Beal averaged 41 versus the Celtics in 3 games this season. He averaged 41. Is he going to go over or under 31.5 points? And you voted under by a close margin at just 50.8% when we closed the poll. Absolutely incredible. Like that that's close, so it means we chose a good one. So, Raheem Palmer, I will ask you, are you with the public on going under, or do you think Beal goes Nova tonight?
This was really tough. I kind of wanted to go over, but I mean, when you look at this, when you look at everything, he's coming off a hamstring injury. He really struggled the other day into the fourth quarter, in which he scored 13 points, and I just don't see him, scoring 32 points tonight. I mean, this is basically a playoff game. We all know that the playoff games, they tend to have a slower pace, lower scoring games. So I have to go under here. It's just too much working against him.
All right, Chris Raybon, are you with the people? Or are you going to go against them and be an enemy of the people?
Yeah, I'm with the people, but just barely. I think just because of that question mark, I think it's a great line, but just because of that question mark of, okay, if we, where's the health at? And then if we lose this game, we know we still have another chance to get in. So I think there's a situation where if the game gets out of hand either way, late, Beal sees less minutes. So again, I think Washington comes out hot. I think, there's a chance Beal gets like 20, 25 in the first half. And then you probably lose this one, but I think it's a good line, and I just have to go under just because of the uncertainty with the health and rotations, given, this is the first playing game of a potential two. If for the team that loses. So yeah, I'm going under. He's been under in 33, over in 27 in the regular season. You do expect a few more minutes though. So I think it's a really good line, but I'll go just under.
Yeah, I'm with you on the under too. I'm with the public. I just think, look, the hamstrings are tough, man. If you push them, they're going to go, and then you are done. And so you've got to be cautious with that. I understand that they played him in the last game and he played well down the stretch. I think you've got to be really careful. There was a lot of times when he looked like he was struggling in that game. So I think he winds up going under. I think this is probably more of a rock fight. So I will go ahead and take the under as well, which means obviously since the public and we're all on the under, Bradley Beal's going for 70 tonight. No question. All right, let's recap all of our bets here on Heat Check. Raheem Palmer has the Wizards plus 2.5. He took Miles Bridges over 18.5 points and Bradley Beal under 31.5. Chris Raybon's got Wiz Boston first quarter over 59.5. Raul Neto over 9.5 points. That's my favorite bet of any of us made.
Under.
9.5
Come on,
points.
Man, don't do that.
Under 9.5 points.
Oh,
Under, and under 31.5 for Beal. And I've got the Hornets money line tonight. Evan Fournier, Denver, Google his last name, over 18.5 points, and Bradley Beal under 31.5. Thanks for joining us so much. We really appreciate it. We'll be back tomorrow for the next set of play-in games on Heat Check. You can catch that with Chad Millman, Preston Johnson, and Justin Fan. For everything that you need to bet the NBA playoffs, download the Action Network app today. Thanks for joining us. This has been Heat Check, presented by BetMGM.